All right. So now back in USA, in New York,
Yeah,
you
we
play.
played a very strong Open in New York in '87, and we have my game against Wolff. He was one of the youngest grandmasters from the United States in that period, and our game will be very interesting because I avoided to play the main line against the Paulsen. You see. So after knight he takes d4, a6, bishop d3, knight f6, castle. Here the normal move is d6, of course. Huh? And I played the alternative queen c7, which leads to very complicated game, very tactical one. We'll see during the game. I explained the difference. And after c4, you have to be very careful how you play the move order. The move order played by myself was the best one, and that leads to a very complicated position in any kind of variation. So after knight c6, he took in c6, very good one, because after bishop e3, black had time to play knight e5, and this is already okay for black. So bishop e3, knight knight
95.
e5, and the knight in e5 wins a tempo and is okay. Wins a tempo attacking the bishop from d3,
Yeah.
and if he was not careful, the knight comes later on to g4, attacking the bishop from e3, and wants to give you mate in h2, and the game is unclear,
Yeah.
very unclear.
Yes.
So knight takes e6 is all right, and after d takes e6 is the good decision. Everything is more or less forced. I mean, white wants to come very quickly. After f4, you are practically forced to play e5, because if you don't play e5, white plays e5, and then the advantage is clear. And the variation also very, very nice for white. If he has time to play e5, then he has the idea knight d4, knight e4, knight d2, knight e4, very good attacking chances. So we have to be very careful. So after e5, he plays f5 and has a little bit more space. This is the idea from this opening, no? So now the best counterplay is to give check immediately now, and after king h1, h5. h5 wants to put the knight in g4, you know, with the idea knight f2 check, queen b6, and so on. Very complicated game. It's not clear who is better, but it's a very good idea for black. So if you don't play like this, white has a very comfortable game and very small attacking chances in any kind of position without too much counterplay. So this line is very good because black plays also, I mean, wants to do something all the time. So, okay, knight g4, knight d2, and queen b6. Now everything is clear. We want to give you a check in f2, almost winning if we have time to give in good position, the check. So he played the normal move
But
here.
here wasn't better.
What?
H3.
No, h3 is
H3.
no threat at all, because you can continue the same idea, because he can never take in g4 because he's mate.
True.
Yeah, he has no time.
Yeah.
So h3 is no good defense. He has to come quickly with a piece, in the center. No, knight d2 is all right. So after queen b6, g3, and now knight f2 check. The idea is very, very interesting. I took in d3 and I gave practically the best piece, for black, the very active knight.
Yes.
I took in d3, but now for the moment we have a small advantage in the center. We have two bishops for the moment, you see. Okay, he took in d3 and I played bishop d4. Very nice, but black has nothing because for the moment the two pieces, the rook from a8 and the bishop from c8, don't play.
Yes.
So you have to develop the pieces, so to put the bishop in d7, for instance, and do something with the rook, But then if you play like this, you have to give up the two bishops. It's very tactical, the position, So rook b1, c5 is okay. He played a3. He wants to open completely the game on the queen side.
Yeah.
And from now on, we transform the position, from a tactical one into a positional one, you see. We play very logical game with black, but trying to demonstrate that black has always a very strong position and very safe one, you see. Okay.
With the king in the middle
No, for the moment.
for the moment.
For the moment. Okay. So bishop d7, b4. Okay. Excellent. Until now. Bishop a4. This is the best defense with the bishop in a4 because it stops any activity on the white squares with the bishop and prepares also the castle queenside for black. This is the idea, you know. Well, everything again, home analysis. It was home analysis for myself. Yeah. Okay, so bishop a4.
Up to here?
Up to here, yeah. And here he played knight f3. Again, very strong move, you know, the best. After knight f3, he prepares finally to put the bishop in e3. Okay, now after castle, which is the best move, he played bishop e3, and now you have to take a decision with black, you see? Because now if you play immediately here f6, he has time to open the position. If you play the normal move f6,
Yes.
yeah, he takes in d4 with the bishop, and then you have to, you know, to take a decision. If you take with e,
Yes.
he has 4 against 3, and has time to put the pawn on the central position in e5. A little bit better for black, you see.
For white.
For white, pardon. If you take with his c, he has 3 against 2, and good attacking chances on the other side, you see.
Yeah.
So here the best way to play is to take first in e3, but you pin yourself, you see, and actually it seems that white is better in any position here, because now black has to take in e3.
Yes.
You take in e3, and now f6. Okay, white has to play, and white wins.
Yeah, you are pinned here.
Yes, white could pin black in such a position, and he's moving here, you know.
Yeah.
He is winning a pawn in every position.
Yeah.
But actually, if he takes with the queen, is much better for black, the position. He's almost winning, you know, the position
For black?
for black, yes. Because now, for instance, queen takes c5 check, queen takes c5, b takes c5. You could play rook d3 very quickly, attacking the pawn from a3. You win a fantastic tempo. You have time to double the rook. No, d3 in d3, yeah. Now, if he plays, for instance, rook a1 is bad, no? And then you put the other rook in d8, you have complete control, and if you move back the bishop in c6, white is almost zugzwang in every position. There's no move at all, you know.
Yeah.
So has to be very careful to find a way to keep the position balanced like this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it seems that he wins materially, he wins a pawn.
Yes.
But the pawn here has no importance at all, you know. So he played well, b takes c5, okay. B takes c5, now queen a5, and from this moment, the position would be more interesting positionally, you know. White has nothing, you know. He won a pawn, but he has to be very careful because every endgame is very dangerous for him, probably lost already. The endgames, I mean, you see, later on, no?
Mm-hmm.
So positionally, black played very well until here kept the balance all the time, you know, and prepares a kind of endgame, if possible. Yeah. So rook b6, rook d7, black is waiting. Rook d6, very good move, of course. Now, if you take in d6, you are probably lost with black, you know, because with the pawn in d6, has time to protect the pawn with c5, and with two protected pawns like this, c and d, white is clearly better now. So you have to be careful also, no? Rook c7, and okay, black played normally very well. Now rook d5. He wants to give the exchange, you know. Okay, rook d5. I played bishop c6, rook d6. No, bishop back. The position is even. Now he could repeat the moves, you know. He could make a draw here, you know.
He could have make a
He
draw.
could make a draw. But the game was decisive because he tried to win, I tried to win. In this kind of open, everybody wanted to win because the game, if we make draw, is bad for both, you know. So he tried to force, you know. So here he played rook c1. Okay, and after rook c1,
So he give you the exchange.
yeah, but it's not good to take the exchange because then he comes quickly with the pawns, you know, in the center. has tactical tricks against your king, and only white could win such a position. If he had time, for instance, to move the knight to d2 to c4 on in b3, he has very strong attacking chances. It's very dangerous for black. So, okay, you play too quietly with black, preparing, as I told you before, counterplay in any kind of middle game and end game, you see. And we'll see the result later on. Yes. Okay, so rook c8, everything is very well preparing, So white, in time trouble, both of us, he took risk and he played knight b3. And now the game is already very dangerous for white because black recaptured the pawn.
Yeah.
Every end game is better for black. And if you are not careful, you can lose also in some tactical way, like in our game later on, you see. So rook d3, and it's clear that now black is better in any position. Queen b4. The game is not balanced anymore here, you see. It's clearly better for black. Any endgame is better because we have the a pawn free in any endgame, you see. And we play quietly to win, try to win with black. Okay, bishop a4 again. What to do? Rook b1. And here, after rook b1, very quiet move, king a8. In time trouble, it's terrible. If you get such a move in time trouble, played by your opponent, it's like a shock, because now you have to decide what to do with white, you see. A very complicated position, and you have to take a decision. But what to do? Because it's clear that only black can win here, you see. So from now on, the game will be very clear in black's favor, you see. He tries to complicate the position, but from an inferior position, and it's very unpleasant for white, of course. Okay, so he wants to, he attacks the pawn from h5, but the pawn from h5 is not, even you can give the pawn from h5, is nothing, you see. So,
but the rook here is hanging.
Well, for the moment, of course, yeah. So now we take the file. First of all, it's clear why black is better, no? You see the position. It's a little bit artificial for white because all the white pieces are hanging a little bit, Black has initiative all over. We took back our pawn on the king's side, on the queen's side, and the end game, if we have the end game will be winning for black, you see. But until the end game, we have the middle game where we could attack, we have the Sicilian counter-attack, as always, you see. Later on. Yeah.
It's not finished yet.
Not finished, of course. And king h3, he's waiting, what to do? Now, we took in b3, he took in b3, queen takes c5. Okay, black has pawn up and winning position. In time trouble, again, terrible position because now we want to take the second pawn in c4 without any counterplay.
Yes.
So what to do? He doesn't give the pawn, of course, but now the queen comes, you see the position. If we compare the position from here with the position from 3 moves before, the difference is terrible, Black has complete control all over the board here.
So that idea with the knight on b3 wasn't a good idea.
Was bad. The idea was bad. In my opinion, had to repeat the position at any cost, to try to make a draw, Okay, he forced. Okay, he's right to force, And now black has to realize the big advantage. And it would be very instructive how black wins in such a position. You see.
Yeah. Okay. Because it seems a little bit equal.
It seems, but it's not clear. It's clear that black has a very strong initiative. And the initiative will be decisive just in a few moves. You see. Okay, king a7, queen e2. And now, endgame. If he takes in d2, lost endgame for white, you see, as I told you before. If he doesn't take in d2, then we have middle game winning for black, you see. Because now suddenly the king from h3 is in big danger. In a few moves, he could be attacked,
Yes.
So, all right, queen f1, big time trouble, Check, king g4, check again, king f3, and now decisive move, queen h5. And here he resigned. But why? If he plays g4 after queen takes h2, the attack continues and the situation is desperate for white, If he plays king g2, After rook d2 check is mate.
After this one, check and mate here.
Mate, yes. In a few moves, as always, Sicilian counterattack, decisive counterattack.
So that was a poison pawn.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Again, tactical lesson,
Okay, so finish before the.
But this is always, in Sicilian, is always like this. If you don't realize the advantage, if you don't attack anymore with white and you come into such a defense, black is always or almost always winning, you see. Counterattack in Sicilian is almost very dangerous. And, we have such an example. If you see the game and if you analyze the game, it seemed that white, didn't play anything wrong if you look at the game. But in reality, it was always step by step, a little bit more, and finally decisive advantage at the end, So therefore, I told you, when the position was more or less balanced, he had to try to repeat the position and, keep the position, even.
Yeah.
If
to save it.
He wanted to force a little bit too much, it was playing against himself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He exposed.
He exposed a little bit too much himself,
All right.
But it was very, very interesting. And this level, it was,
Correct.
the result was normal. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're